but it doesn't end there. Stewart steers us on a detour now. Quote, then in the early 1960s, several family members married several of the Searle family members. So there's another kind of wealth transfer event that occurred where the Searles and the Dixons came together. My Aunt Sue Dixon, her grandfather was G.D. Searle, who founded Searle Pharmaceutical Company, which today is Monsanto. Quote, Searle is the company that invented and distributed the birth control pill, Dramamine, and was one of the early developers of penicillin. But the big claim to fame with Searle was a sugar substitute called NutraSweet, which was then invented by the Searle Company and, in turn, sold to Monsanto, then spun it off as its own company today called NutraSweet. Of course, any Chicagoan worth their salt will somehow be affiliated with a prestigious law firm. Stewart concludes, if you go back 5 generations, each family member became an attorney and did your typical law firm route and created some world-class law firms. On my grandmother's side, she was Silas H. Strawn's daughter, and Silas Strawn was the founder of one of the top international law firms called Winston & Strawn. Quote, I'm fascinated by how deftly Stewart navigated his family's entrance into the media. Quote, all of that led to just this inertia that was created around technology. So I have deep, deep knowledge of technology and was fortunate enough to work with some of the top technologists in the world. I was on the team that drove the Macintosh computer into the mainstream entertainment industry, and my boss reported to the CEO of Apple at the time, John Sculley. So it was me and several other guys that brought the Macintosh into the entertainment industry back in the 1980s, early 1990s. And then that led to my return to Chicago, where I was hired by the CEO of the Tribune Company to put the newspaper on the internet and create what today the global web presence is for the Chicago Tribune. And then I did the same thing for Motorola when the CEO hired me to go run. Chris Gavin gave me the opportunity to run Motorola.com for 5 years. Quote, all that to say these experiences were enormous and I really got into private equity and venture coming out of Motorola. About 6 months after leaving Motorola, the head of Motorola Ventures, which is a brand new $150 million fund that had just started, asked me to come back and help them run a variety of the portfolio companies that were either coming into or coming out of Motorola. Quote, Venture DNA was created almost 20 years ago, starting out as basically a media-dedicated advisory services and as a private equity concern. In the last 10 years, Stewart's been able to create a formalized structure to allocate into emerging technology companies. Stewart's brave foray into the media, being a frontman for his Chicago cabal, was not without careful consternation. A level of privacy premium exists today that never existed before.